Go over by those coins over there, yeah? Good morning and a happy new year to you all. It is Friday the 1st of January 2021, so New Year's Day, and I am down at Shoreham. I'm on Shoreham Beach, and as usual it's customary for me to try my luck on the first day of the first year of the new year, as I have done for the last 15 years. Sea fishing on New Year's Day, albeit in the sunny Canaries in shorts and t-shirt. It's a little bit brisk today. Again, as usual, we are in the UK after all. I think the car was reading anything between -1 and 0, but at least there's no wind today. Is there, Kim? Nice and calm. As you can see, the sea is lovely. Not too clear and not too murky, kind of in between. So anything goes, really. You don't know until you try. So let's get these rods set up and I'll come back to you. So I'm going with a pulley rig on one rod. I'm going to fish a big bait. I think I'm going to go with a whole squid. And on the second rod, I'm just going with a 1 up, 1 down, longish snoods. 2 foot long snoods. Worm hooks, just to test the water. Here we are, both rigs on. I shall break those up and show you in a minute. Baiting needle, let's get them on the rig. Had a visitor saying hello. Cute dog. So, get these worms onto this 2-hook flapper rig. So, offer the needle to the hook. Keep the line tight against the needle. Grab one of the worms. Just push it off the needle onto your hook. Feather it on if need be, like so. And there we have it. Bring the stopper with the sequin down so your worm doesn't move up any further up the line on the cast. So there we go. So the stopper there, nice and tight with a sequin, which acts as another barrier, and it keeps your worm nicely on the long shank of the worm hook. Let's get another small worm onto this hook, because that's not a big enough bait. That's a better size bait now. Bring your stopper down, compress it a little bit, and that's it. That's good presentation there. So that's the first rig baited up, ready to go. On the pulley rig, I was going to go with just squid, but A, my squid is still frozen. B, it was a little bit misshaped, so what I've gone for instead is 2 small fillets of bluey either side. Now normally I prefer to actually stuff the piece of fish bait inside the squid. Obviously the squid body being tougher preserves the softer fillet much better with it being inside, but the smell still comes out, and the slick and the oils are still oozing out. But as I said, because the squid is still frozen solid, and I can't believe it still is, took them out of the freezer a couple of hours ago, but I guess it's the cold weather in the UK. So let's get this on the pulley rig. So, pulley pennel rig, 40-pound fluorocarbon. The fluorocarbon is by Cinetic. Excellent stuff. The hooks are Black Magic, Sea Point and KS. So the KS goes to this end, and I'm actually going to put it on the head end. So backwards in, get your distance right, and then twist back out like so. Sits nicely. And the second hook on the pennel, the slide-in hook, just again get your distances right by giving yourself quite a bit of purchase into the meat of the bait. So over here somewhere, twist it round, and there you have both hooks nicely embedded into the bait, but quite a bit of hook showing. As you can see, you've got a little bit of loose line here between the 2 hooks, so because it's on a slider with a bit of shrink wrap here, all you do is tighten it. And now obviously I need to carry on with the bait elastic. As you can see, I'd already wrapped my sandwich together, so now I have to wrap the whole assembly onto the 2 hooks. So we just get some near the shank of the first hook, concentrate on this area where the line is coming off the hook shank by the knot there, so that gives it a little bit of binding there, and it holds the hook in place, stops it from twisting. So I normally wrap around 10 turns there, and then you can skip onto your second hook like so, and just carry on there, come up the shank of the second hook, and again I normally put around 10 wraps there. So this bait elastic is catching in the dispenser, complicating my life. And then I come back down here and a couple of overhands, 1 and 2, a couple of overhand loops, and snap it off there. So there we go. We've got a nice big bait here. I'm really hoping for cod, right time of year. I'd like to get one. Hopefully today is the day. So let's clip that down into our imp, And for people who don't know, this makes our cast much more aerodynamic because our bait is clipped to our lead, tucked away underneath the imp there, and the way it works, the lead and the bait fly out together, and then when this imp hits the water pressure pulling up on it releases the bait. So you have your lead gripping on the seabed, your bait flapping away with the tide and the currents, and when you get a fish, obviously it's on a pulley system, so the whole idea is when you have a fish on, your lead moves up, and it's much better for avoiding snags. So let's flip it back to the imp, wipe my hands and get those two baits out. The worms I'm not going to cast far, I'm going to put them relatively closer in. That's it. Let's hope there's some fish. Here we are. Just had a couple of bites on the worm bait. Let's see what it is. There you go, still there. This is already better than Southampton. The baits have only been out 5 minutes. We haven't even finished our coffees yet. And I had a couple of nice bites on the worm. So at least there's fish here. Possibly whiting, pin whiting, but it's better than nothing. So let's see if it materializes. I'm going to check the bait on this. There were 2 or 3 bites on it, smallish bites, quite possibly whiting, so let's check this bait. Basically the bites were on this top hook. I say whiting because they've tried to get the worm off there, but obviously didn't come back for it. Other than that, the baits are pretty good, so I'm going to reposition this worm because it's not even washed out yet and get this bait back out. Well, the time is 10 to 1. And the high tide today was at 12:35, so I'm hoping that the bites will start on the ebb. They normally do. I've not really had much activity on the flood or just short of the high in the past, so just that one half attempt from that pin whiting earlier on before the high, and I'm hoping now on the start of the ebb the fish will come on because it's been a little bit quiet. When the fish aren't biting, you have some homemade chicken and vegetable soup, no?
Too right. Keep warm.
That looks delicious, even if I say so myself.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, here we are. The big bait was out for 2 hours. I just wound it in, and this is how it came back. So there's really not much out there at all. Just some nibbles at the end there, but that bait was perfectly good enough to catch something half decent out there. Right, I'm going to change it anyway, put a fresh bait out and see what happens there. There we are. There's a fresh bait on. And this time, since the squid was half defrosted, I've gone for my favourite way of doing it. So it's a fish stuffed whole squid. It's already on the rig, baited up, ready to go out. Let's see what cast number 2 does. Well, what can I say? We've been here how long, Kim?
Too long.
Too long, she says. I think we've been here, what, 3.5 hours? 3.5 hours. It's a bit cold. Not as bad as Southampton though, a couple of days back. At least there's no wind. And I've had a couple of tiny knocks on the worm bait earlier on, short of the high tide. High tide came, the high tide went, and I haven't been able to buy a bite. Fresh worms out, nothing. Fresh squid stuffed with fish, pretty biggish bait, out. Not even a knock, not even a nibble on it. Fast losing the tide, as you can see. It's quite a way down now, to the point where I'm getting people walking under the lines, and I'm worried that one of them's going to clip it any minute. And to make matters worse, I had a video call from my cousin in Florida, who is sat there on the beach with his fishing rods in 30 degrees Celsius, targeting Spanish mackerel, bluefish and red drum. Such is life. So I'm going to give these maximum 20 more minutes. I'm definitely not staying till the dark, and if I don't get any more bites, I'm bringing the rods in and calling it a day, and see if it's going to be one of those adventures yet again. Well, there we go. When you wind in your worm baits after what, an hour and a half out, and you get them back perfectly intact on both hooks, that's the sign for you to pack up. Two hours in the water and not even a tentacle missing off the squid. No more commentary apart from, I wish I was in Florida.